Good morning, I'm Kenneth Moton.
And I'm Janae Norman. Here are the top 5 things to know this Monday. Number 1, severe storm alert. Another round of dangerous weather today.
After dozens of tornadoes already touched down in 6 states, including this one in Kansas, the Dodge City area was hit hard by several twisters. Homes and other buildings were damaged and power lines knocked down.
That is a massive twister. The greatest tornado threat today is in the Oklahoma City area. Many school districts there have canceled classes today because of the concern.
Number 2, a rocket fired into Baghdad's heavily guarded green zone has landed less than 1 mile from the U.S. Embassy.
There's no official word on who's responsible, and no injuries have been reported. That region is already on edge amid concern that neighboring Iran may be plotting to attack American forces in the region.
President Trump has issued a new warning to Iran's leadership saying, quote, never threaten the U.S. again. He warned any military engagement with the U.S. will mean, quote, the end of Iran.
On to number 3 now. 4 Americans and a Canadian are dead after a plane crash off the coast of Honduras.
Their small plane, piloted by the Canadian, crashed into the sea shortly after takeoff from a popular tourist destination.
Honduran officials said all 4 tourists aboard the single-engine Piper Cherokee were male. The cause of the crash is not known.
We head to Georgia for number 4. A stunning surprise for nearly 400 seniors at Morehouse College.
Billionaire investor Robert F. Smith went off script during his commencement address, announcing he plans to pay off the entire class of 2019 student loans, a cost of about $40 million.
According to the Wall Street Journal, students who attend historically black colleges and universities like Morehouse typically graduate with about $29,000 in loans, 32% more than students from other four-year schools.
And finally, number 5, an epic end to the Game of Thrones, and what some critics will say will go down as one of the most controversial series finales of all time.
Don't worry, no spoilers, no spoilers, no spoilers, but there was still plenty to rave about, like this shot of Daenerys Targaryen and her dragon wings, sending fans into a frenzy on Twitter. Not everyone loved the final episode, though. The review from the Detroit Free Press was meh.
Despite mixed reviews, every trending topic overnight was Game of Thrones related, and nearly 28 million people are expected to miss work, arrive late, or be less productive than usual today because of last night's series finale. One website even making counselors available to viewers going through withdrawal. Got a lot more coming your way,
including no spoilers. It's Morning America. Good morning, everyone. I think this will be a thing with Game of Thrones where people say meh now, but they're going to go rewatch it and they're like, you know what, it wasn't so bad. This was pretty epic. So
here is how I will break down disagreeing with you, and it's from something I heard on a podcast. Okay. My husband's a big GOT fan, and basically the show was originally based on a book. And it seems that they were really good at making a television adaptation of that book, but then when they had to keep the story going on their own, it kind of all crumbled.
Yeah, I get it.
So maybe that's what it is. But hey, maybe there are some people out there who feel like it was everything they dreamed of.
And it was the end, so there's an end for everything. There was a time to end everything, including something epic like this. And apparently, remember 2 episodes ago, everyone was like, it was the best ever, whatever.
Or something,
So maybe you take that and say, that's my
Enjoy
big,
the
good
times
finale.
you had.
All right, so let's get to that big story, the battle over abortion, unifying Democrats and stirring up divisions among Republicans. ABC's Mona Kosar-Abdi joins us from Washington with the latest. Good morning, Mona.
Good morning, Kenneth. Good morning, Janae. Over the weekend, we saw hundreds of demonstrators take to the streets and protest in the Alabama state capitol. We saw thousands more in Kansas City, Missouri, all chanting, "My body, my choice." Now, the demonstrators were protesting against strict anti-abortion measures that were recently passed in both states. In Alabama, the law that has already been, or the bill, excuse me, that has already been signed into law by the governor is the most restrictive in the country. In Missouri, lawmakers on Friday passed a bill that would ban abortions at 8 weeks. Now, once in effect, both laws criminalize the procedure for doctors and make no exceptions for rape or incest, which has kind of has divided a lot of pro-life supporters. And so Alabama and Missouri right now are part of a wave of conservative states aiming to legally challenge Roe v. Wade. So we can expect a lengthy legal battle to play out there. And this year alone, we had 4 other states pass heartbeat bills, which means that once a heartbeat is detected, the abortion is no longer allowed. It is outlawed.
And Mona, as we've seen a lot of response to this, we reported last week that staunch conservative Pat Robertson even said that the Alabama law goes too far. And as you were just mentioning, there were even some pro-life Republicans who were distancing themselves from these new state laws.
Right. The point I made earlier about no exceptions to rape or incest, that has been a point of contention for a lot of pro-life supporters who say that the Alabama law and the Missouri law just are going too far. We saw Mitt Romney over the weekend say that he doesn't support the Alabama law. And most notably, the president also weighed in this weekend. He tweeted out that he is strongly pro-life and that he, though he believes in 3 exceptions for rape, incest, and protecting the life of the mother. He aligned himself with former President Ronald Reagan and said that his stance is the same as Ronald Reagan's stance. So it'd be interesting to see how this all plays out in coming weeks.
And it will not be playing out anytime soon. This is going to take a while, Mona. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Well, Democrats running for president are seizing the issue of abortion and these new laws. Bernie Sanders took part in an abortion rights march in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. He told the crowd the legislation was part of a well-funded attack coordinated by right-wing extremists to deny women the right to control their own bodies and their own futures. Senator Kamala Harris held a rally in the Los Angeles area and drew some of the loudest applause when she condemned the Alabama decision banning abortion.
In a rare move, President Trump is criticizing his favorite news channel, Fox News, for airing a town hall with Democratic presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg. The president tweeted that Fox is wasting airtime on the South Bend, Indiana mayor, saying it's moving more and more to the losing side in covering the Democrats. Fox News commentator Brett Hume defended the network, saying covering candidates of both parties is part of the job of a news channel.
Classes resumed this morning at the Portland, Oregon High School, where a student brought a loaded shotgun last Friday. Football coach Keenan Lowe is being called a hero for preventing another school tragedy. He was a star wide receiver in college, but that tackle he made last week may be his biggest play ever. And during an exclusive interview, he told ABC News it was the longest fraction of a second in his life.
I lunged for the gun, and we both had the gun. We had 4 hands on the gun, and students are running out of the back of the classroom. And I'm just trying to make sure that the end of the gun isn't pointing towards where the students are running, but also not pointed at myself. So I end up getting the gun from him, getting the gun with my right hand and holding him off with my left hand.
The 18-year-old suspect is due in court today. Meanwhile, life is returning to normal for the other students. They held their prom this weekend as scheduled.
Well, coming up, the graduation speaker who pledged to erase student debt for the entire class of 2019.
The shocking announcement during the commencement address after this. Welcome back. Now to the abduction of a little girl caught on camera in Texas. 2 Good Samaritans are being called heroes for helping to find and rescue the 8-year-old in the middle of the night, hours after she was kidnapped.
This morning, the dramatic moment an 8-year-old girl was taken from her mother on the street. The chilling abduction caught on a neighbor's doorbell camera in Fort Worth. Police say Salem Sabatka and her mother were taking a walk when a man grabbed Salem and pulled her into his car. According to investigators, Salem's mother jumped in the car and, quote, fought ferociously, even pulling a piece of jewelry off the alleged abductor. But police say he then shoved Salem's mother out of the car and sped away with the little girl.
The mother actually went after her child, as any mother would be expected to do. The mother was literally thrown from the vehicle.
Then, 12 hours later at 2:30 a.m., 2 men voluntarily searching for Salem spotted the suspect's car in a hotel parking lot about 10 miles from where she was taken. Police knocked on the hotel door, rescued Salem, and took 51-year-old Michael Webb into custody.
These guys are our heroes. You know, we're here in police uniform with badges and guns, and everybody calls us heroes. And now we have 2 citizens that went out of our way.
One of those men was Jeff King, a local pastor who knows Salem's dad, says they were searching apartment buildings and hotels when they spotted the car. King says he decided to join the search because he's a parent himself.
I have 2 boys, and I would have wanted as many eyes looking out for my boys as possible. I feel like God allowed me to be a tool.
Police described the suspect as a transient with no connection to the family. As for Salem, she's said to be in good condition.
So let's go across the pond now to Julia McFarlane in the London Bureau, who's been monitoring a bombing near the famous pyramids in Egypt. Good morning, Julia. So we're hearing that thankfully no one was killed in the blast.
Morning, guys. Yeah, I mean, what a blow to this amazing site. Is one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It's a huge tourist pull. You know, how many of us have gone or would hope to see the pyramids, the ancient pyramids of Giza? Thankfully, though, there were 16 people injured in the blast, but none of them seriously. Now, this happened over the weekend. On Sunday, there was footage on social media that showed the bus that was damaged in the attack. Now, we believe it was a roadside device that was detonated behind a fence as the bus went past. And this was just outside the new National Museum, which is still under construction. And this new museum, it's part of the government's efforts to try and bring tourists back to Egypt, because the tourism industry, it's one of Egypt's biggest contributors to its economy, and it's taken a real battering in recent years because of the number of attacks. As you said, it's not the first attack in Giza. There was one 6 months ago in December. 4 people were killed, 3 Vietnamese tourists and their Egyptian tour guide. You know, the Egyptian government, they crack down on militant networks after every attack, but they still continue to happen. So the government has promised a heavy-handed response on those responsible.
And 2 bombings in 6 months. Oh, Julia, switching gears a little bit, India just held the largest election in the world. Talk to us about the results there.
So this is an election of huge scale. In 2014, the last election, they spent $5 billion because it's such a massive operation. India's got 900 million million people. A lot of them obviously will be eligible voters, anyone over the age of 18. And it is the biggest election in the world because, of course, the biggest population, China, is not a democratic country. So 10% of the world's economy could have been voting in these elections. It takes them 6 weeks to carry it out. So we think of election day. Well, how about election 39 days for the Indians? Now, it's really interesting, these elections, because Mr. Modi, who's the current prime minister, he won in a landslide in 2014. But we've been talking a lot about nationalism, right, around the world, and India's not immune to that. Mr. Modi has been branded as a Hindu nationalist to many people, and the country's become a lot more divided under him. So exit polls say that he's likely to win a majority, but it may be a hung parliament because the country is becoming increasingly divided. So we'll know the results later this week.
Julia, the royals there, the British royals, they have a way of just keeping us hooked. We thought that after baby Archie, you know, we have a little bit of a moment to take a breath, but they said, nuh-uh, we got some pictures for you.
Yeah, I mean, the Sussexes really are doing things their own way. It was, of course, their 1-year wedding anniversary on Sunday. Of course, that stunning, lavish ceremony that was beamed across the world. And what we're seeing now is their post on Instagram. They marked their anniversary by releasing this slideshow of pics. Some of them never before seen pictures behind the scenes of the big day. Some really lovely pictures there, accompanied by a message saying thank you to all the well-wishers around the world who made it even more special. And that music accompanying the post is This Little Light of Mine, I'm Gonna Let It Shine, which, if you remember, is the song the couple chose as their recessional song. So a lovely little snapshot of life with the Sussexes there.
We remember, and we remember well. I hope you are enjoying your new baby royal there. After it's been, what, nearly a week now, right? Or a couple of weeks? How long has it been?
Couple of weeks,
Couple of weeks,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's 2 weeks today, I think, actually. Is it? I don't know, all the days I'm blending into one. Happy 2 week, happy fortnight.
Wait, Julia, have you watched the Game of Thrones?
No.
Oh, she's like,
do I need to take this out? Do I need to take this out? No.
Just wanted your opinion, but you haven't seen it yet, so we'll circle back.
There are even news stories about it. I was reading the news this morning, and there are news stories about it. And so it's like a minefield. So I'm just going to not look at any technology until I get home.
All right, well, we want to know your opinion after you watch it.
We'll check in with you about it tomorrow.
We'll talk tomorrow. I will have strong opinions about it, I have no doubt.
All right, thanks to Julia. Now let's get a check of some notifications, starting with this police sketch fail. Police in Northampton getting some attention on social media, posting this picture of, I mean, this can't possibly be the suspect, can it? What the suspect's supposed to look like, may look like.
If he got hit on the head a few times,
maybe.
Then that's the shape of it.
They called him like a distract thief, and one person posted asking, was the distraction his face?
Oh, snap.
Oh, social media and those comment sections.
Yeah. How about this dog? Just casually riding on the back of this motorbike, carrying his toy in Thailand. I was actually surprised there were about, typically there'd be 10 more people on that motorcycle in Thailand. They know how to get around efficiently.
Apparently, I just don't know how safe that is for that dog. Meanwhile, PETA. Now to that graduation shocker. The commencement speaker at Morehouse College giving students literally the surprise of their lives, announcing he will pay off all their debt.
Robert F. Smith, we're going to put a lot of respect on that name. He's a tech investor previously known as a quiet billionaire until he made the cover of Forbes magazine, surpassing Oprah as the wealthiest black person in this country.
ABC's Stephanie Ramos has more on his very generous gift and what he hopes it will accomplish.
It was already one of the proudest days of these young men's lives at Morehouse College. But the reality of what their commencement speaker told the nearly 400 graduating seniors is sinking in.
This is my class, 2019, and my family is making a grant to eliminate their student loans.
A graduation gift estimated at $40 million, wiping out the student loan debt of the entire class of 2019. The announcement surprising those on stage. Parents in shock amid the cheers.
I asked the person to the left of me, I asked the person to the right of me, the person in front of me, the person in back of me, is this really what he said?
For Ernest Holmes, that means erasing the $10,000 he still owes.
I think we're all still in shock. Like, we don't know what to say, really, that all our debt is going to be gone.
Student debt is a real issue in this country, especially at historically black colleges. According to a Wall Street Journal analysis, alumni from these schools have a median federal loan debt of about $29,000, 32% more than graduates from other four-year schools.
In that moment, I thought they don't have any clue how monumental this is, and for many of them, how it will steepen the trajectory of their lives.
These students vowing to pay it forward.
I would definitely want to be able to get to a position where I could provide for future Morehouse students.
Smith had already pledged a $1.5 million gift to the school. The president of Morehouse College is thanking him for giving back and for changing these students' lives. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Washington.
Could you imagine on your graduation day what that would have been like?
I can't even remember my graduation speaker. I would remember this. I would remember this, and you've heard us use the word, we've been using the word trajectory a lot this morning because it really changes the path for these young men and what they can do, what it frees them up to do, and what they will now, I hope many of them will, how they will pay it forward.
Well, when you think about the stories out there about how millennials are buying homes less, are not having as many kids as like previous generations at this point in their lives, it's because so many are crippled by the debt that they walked out of college with. I know we both said earlier, we're both still paying student loans. We are examples of that.
Correction. I paid my student loans
good
off.
for you.
Thank you.
Well,
and trust me, there was a big applause, celebration.
Good for you.
When
you
Sally Mae
have.
Navient stopped calling me.
Yes, I am thinking about what I will do, what I'll buy when I finish paying my student loans.
It is
Being a little
nice.
younger, I'm a little further behind.
That little shade there because I am a little older.
No, but that's really good that you were able to, because I'm sure that there are plenty of people who can't. So that man is literally changing the trajectory of their lives.
And when we look at HBCUs, we know that they rarely get these large-scale gift donations like this.
That a lot of other institutions get.
That a lot of other major institutions get. And when it comes to these schools, which are so important and vital culturally, what they've done in the past and history for African Americans, it is just incredible to see this gift being given to these 400 deserving Morehouse graduates. And so everybody's going to be talking about it.
Yep.
And we'll see, we're going to follow many of those young men and see what's next for them.
And it'll be interesting to see if this kind of sparks others like Robert F. Smith to
Right.
see if they do similar things.
Because you do not have to be a billionaire
to make a big difference.
You do not.
There you go.
Well, coming up, Game of Thrones series finale had millions of viewers holding their breath.
But not all of them were happy about the ending. More after this.
Here's what to watch out for today. Lori Lightfoot will be sworn in as the Chicago's first ever black woman mayor. She's also the first openly gay woman to hold the office. Curbing gun violence in the city is one of her top priorities. President Trump will hold a Make America Great Again campaign rally in Montoursville, Pennsylvania.
And first-year students at the U.S. Naval Academy attempts to climb the greased-up 21-foot-tall Herndon Monument to celebrate officially no longer being plebes. Watch that right here on ABC News Live. That is always very entertaining. Plus, don't forget to tune in to the debrief for an update on all our top stories and the briefing room for a breakdown of the latest headlines in politics. Well, with the airing of last night's series finale, Game of Thrones is now officially a thing of the past.
Adios, GOT. This last season reportedly bringing in over 30 million viewers per episode in the U.S. alone. Will Gans has the report.
The only thing more hot than Dragonfire from last night's Game of Thrones finale might be the ratings numbers. Fans, including our own Amy Robach's viewing party, shocked. Approximately 27.2 million employees will miss work, arrive late, work remotely, or be less productive than usual today because of the GOT series finale. Fans of HBO's most popular show ever, wondering if they'll get a Sopranos type of finale, a dramatic fade to black, or a reminder that your faves aren't as favorable as we thought they were, just like Seinfeld. But regardless of how it ends, the show going down in history. Over 7 seasons, Game of Thrones receiving 132 Emmy Award nominations and winning 47 of them. The stars themselves saying goodbye to the show on social media. Emilia Clarke saying, "Daenerys has taken up the whole of my heart. I've sweated in the blaze of Dragonfire, shed many tears at those who left our family early. But to you, dear, kind, magical fans, I owe you so much thanks." And Gwendolyn Christie finding the humor, captioning this post, being told the ending to GOT. That reaction also appropriate to fans who haven't seen the price tag for this season's episodes. The final season costing a stark $15 million per each of the final 6 episodes.
So this isn't totally the end. There's still the final 2 books in the series yet to be finished, and that could be very different from the show. And the spin-off shows reportedly in the works, so I guess it's not a thing of the past.
I guess at least the TV series that we just saw, that's a thing of the past.
The HBO Game of Thrones, as it is, gone. Gone with the wind, fabulous.
Yes.
There could be something else on the heels.
That's funny. That brings us to the question of the day. What are you looking forward to now that Game of Thrones is over? Tell us in the comments or tweet us at ABC News Live.
What are you looking forward to?
Daylight, going out.
Because you weren't doing any of those things.
I was definitely doing that before. No, what I would enjoy the most is not saying the words spoiler alert.
Yes, or Daenerys Targaryen.
Or, what's another big GOT thing? Dragons. Jon Snow. Who will sit on the Iron Throne?
A Starbucks cup popping up somewhere that nobody probably saw until one person
calling
did.
out all of their flaws. Can't see, it's too dark. What else?
I don't know. All the things people were complaining about. Episodes too short, took too long.
Yeah.
Yep. And now that our watch is ended for today, we'll see you tomorrow.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.